Hi, next Dr. Ben update is about a neat new preprint from Anthony Fair, which is a name that we know. He's a very good virologist, came out of the Iowa lab. And one of the things he's been looking at over the years is the function of a thing called the macrodomain in SARS coronavirus. And SARS coronavirus actually has 3 of these right in a row. So they're named after a thing called a macrodomain that's found in histones. Histones are like they're like a little spool that the DNA gets wrapped around inside your nucleus. They're how we sort of keep DNA all nice and coiled up so it doesn't get all tangled. Like one of those Christmas light hangers that you can use. And this is a protein that happens to have a similar shape, but it has a different function. So it can do 2 things. One is it can bind to a substance called ADP ribose, which is a little sugary chain that you can hang on to proteins inside the cell. And there are a lot of places that this gets used, and it's not clear exactly which of these the virus is going after. At least it's not clear to me. He probably has a real good idea, I think. And the other thing it can do is it can cut those little chains off. So right now you got to be thinking of an enzyme with the ability to kind of home in on a certain part of the cell or a certain protein in the cell. That's going to be the ADP ribose binding. And then a protein with the ability to cut off that tag, at least sometimes. And that could potentially change the way that component of the cell works. So one possible explanation that I've been looking at, but I haven't really seen backed up by tests yet, is that it might be affecting the function of, there are these little things called either stress granules or P bodies. Those are related things. But what they are is kind of a rapid response mechanism in the cell. So normally something happens in the cell, you make a signal, the signal makes other signals, it takes a while, and then eventually something goes into the nucleus and says, right here, I want to make a copy of this gene. This is the appropriate response for, I don't know, whatever happened a couple minutes ago on the surface of the cell. And that's fine, but that's a little bit slower, and sometimes you want to be faster. And so what the cell will do is it'll have its little emergency management group, like a little set of messenger RNAs that are all ready to go and loaded up, but they're being held in check just in case they're needed. And this is something that they can potentially activate on a moment's notice. There is a lot of ADP ribose involved here, and that's a possible explanation, but until somebody actually shows it with experiments, that is, we can't consider that is actually what's going on. So we know that this particular enzyme, this macrodomain, is definitely involved in changing the way that a cell recognizes the virus and responds to the virus. So it's connected to one of those pathways. We're just not sure which one, but I'm going to be real interested to read more and find out exactly what's going on here, because it's probably complex and wonderful, and we just gotta wait for the papers to come out, and then we can see this. So yeah, congratulations, it's another beautiful paper. Thanks. This is Dr. Ben.